Believe it or not, Disney doesn't always get its own way. So we're taking a look at some of the most iconic things that Disney World was forced to stop doing and what helped us fill the void after these had come and gone. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog, and I am so glad you're here because today's video isn't just your average DFB video. We are here celebrating 15 years of DFB. 15, can you believe it? It's just like the cliche phrase says, time flies when you're eating plastic cheese and riding the People Mover on repeat. But in all seriousness, the team and I are so grateful for each and every one of you. Year 15 has been such a milestone for us already because this is also the year our YouTube channel hit 1 million subscribers, which feels absolutely unreal. So thank you for being part of our journey, a part of our silly antics and food reviews and Disney vacations aplenty. And here's to many more years to come with lots of new and exciting things in store for everyone. So stay tuned. Okay, I know I've got a video to get to, and a fun video at that. Today we're walking down memory lane to explore the parts of Disney, both good and bizarre, for a healthy mixture of both, that were forced to come to a complete stop, as well as what you can expect to find in the parks instead. Starting out with the underwater audio. So the Big Blue Pool is already one of the coolest pools on property, but back when the Value Resort Art of Animation first opened in 2012, it was even cooler. Because anytime you went underwater, you could hear A, music, or B, Nemo and friends talking to you. So naturally, a lot of kids would stay under the water for as long as possible until one of their fishy friends spoke again. But this became a safety hazard, so the underwater audio was officially removed from the Big Blue Pool just a few years back. Fortunately, the Big Blue Pool continues to be the hip happening place to be though. Thanks to all the oversized props surrounding the pool, you can still feel like you're swimming alongside Squirt and Mr. Ray, Mischievous Jellies, and other friends from the ocean blue who are straight out of the film Finding Nemo. Not to mention, this is still the single largest pool in all of Disney World, which is hard to imagine since the Disney resorts have a lot of really cool and expansive pools. And if the Big Blue Pool is too hip happening for ya, Art of Animation has 2 other smaller character themed pools that you might want to check out instead, including the Cozy Cone Pool inspired by Pixar's Cars and the Flippin' Fins Pool inspired by Little Mermaid. Now, if you're still looking for a resort near the Disney World area that has underwater audio in their pool, you're not going to find that at a Disney specific spot, but you can still find that over at the Four Seasons Resort Orlando. In Four Seasons Explorer Island, the family pool plays hit tunes that you can groove along to every time you dunk your head. But don't expect Dory to pop in every now and then and encourage you to just keep swimming. Now a fresh wound that we can commiserate on. Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. It was a 2-day, 2-night, all-inclusive, totally immersive, part murder mystery dinner theater, part escape room, part cruise, part choose-your-own-adventure game. And it was all set within the Star Wars universe, specifically events happening between the last 2 films of the sequel trilogy. Sounds like a good time, right? So what happened? And why was Disney forced to close it so soon? Well, the Star Cruiser got a lot of flack right from the get-go, before it even opened back in August 2021, when they first announced pricing for the 2-day trip, which ranged between $4,000 and $6,000. When the Star Cruiser officially opened in March 2022, it became very clear very quickly that this was a very specific vacation for a very specific group of people. The main audience for this hotel was the major Star Wars fan. Alongside those super fans, you also had the hardcore Disney fans, the curious people who had money to burn on a vacation, and a few other folks in between, meaning the audience to make the ROI of the hotel worth it just wasn't there, especially with that price point. So with all the odds pushed against them, Disney decided to pull the plug on Star Cruiser at the end of September 2023. So is this the end of Star Cruiser completely? Well, Disney's definitely doing something in that general vicinity right now. We just don't know what it is yet. Back in January, a notice of commencement was filed on January 25th for general construction at an address that matches up with the former Galactic Star Cruiser. And the contractor who'll be doing the work is listed as Sun State Awning and Graphic Design Incorporated. So why is that significant? Well, because this work doesn't sound like a demolition, it sounds cosmetic. So Disney does have some plans for the Star Wars hotel, but whether that means they'll be bringing it back from the dead or bringing us something totally new is all up in the air. Chairperson of Walt Disney Parks and Resorts, Josh D'Amaro, even noted that the things Disney learned while creating the Star Cruiser will continue to be used throughout new experiences, many of which they haven't even made announcements for yet. In the meantime, there are still plenty of Star Wars experiences to immerse ourselves within over at Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios. We can still fly the Millennium Falcon, join the Resistance during Rise of the Resistance, build your own lightsaber or droid at Savi's Workshop in Droid Depot, shop around the Black Spire Marketplace, become a bounty hunter with your Magic Band Plus, Plus and try weird intergalactic food that you might fall in love with. Now, I've only scratched the surface of why Star Cruiser really had to close in this little section of our script, but if you want to learn the full story, make sure to check out our Why Disney Closed the Star Wars Hotel video right after this. Time to talk about the self-service topping bars. Gone, but not forgotten. Never forgotten. They can't make me forget you. Back when select Disney World quick services like Pecos Bill Tall Tale Inn and Cafe, Restaurantosaurus, and Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe were at their prime, you could order a basic burger, taco, or nachos and jazz these entrees up yourself with a bounty of self-serve toppings. These toppings included peppers and pickles, salsa, sauteed mushrooms, shredded cheese, lettuce, sliced tomatoes, and a whole lot of other selections, even guacamole, that could make an otherwise okay dish into something super tasty. And then the COVID-19 pandemic hit and put an end to all that to help keep people safe and healthy during a super confusing time. Alas, here we are in 2024 and the toppings bars still haven't returned to their former glory. Nowadays, the toppings bars are home to prepackaged basics like sugar, salt, and other items. No more salsa, pico de gallo, or sauteed beautiful onions. The good thing is that even though you can't customize your meal like you used to, you can still request certain toppings when you place your order. For example, if I were making a mobile order for a chicken rice bowl at Pecos Bill, I can ask for things like lettuce, sour cream, salsa, and other items that'll help make my order a little more personalized. But hold on, I'm not done yet, because as hard as it was for me to accept the disappearance of the self-service toppings bars, it was even harder for me to wrap my mind around the disappearance of plastic cheese. I know, the humanity. Back in 2015, Disney made me question everything I once believed in when they took away plastic cheese from their restaurants. These were dark times indeed. I'm glad some of you don't have to have memories of it. Now, there were rumors about what happened there. Some cast members said the self-service plastic cheese was getting to be more of a hassle and mess than it was worth, but other rumors stated that the missing cheese had to do with a lawsuit a family filed against Disney after their child was burned by the hot cheese sauce. Whatever the case, the plastic cheese sauce went dormant for a couple of years, because you remember, you used to be able to self-serve it at Cosmic Rays and Casey's Corner. But it did make a return in 2017. This was very exciting. Unfortunately, though, plastic cheese is no longer a self-service option like it used to be. Now it's an extra charge, usually $1 extra at many counter service restaurants and snack kiosks that have it as an option. And sometimes they give you the pre-packaged plastic cheese, which isn't nearly as good as the coming out of a pump plastic cheese. So where can you find this liquid gold around Disney World? Casey's Corner in Main Street, USA, and the Friars Nook in Fantasyland have it up for grabs in Magic Kingdom. The Lunching Pad also advertises that they sell cheese sauce, but fair warning, the cheese sauce here is pre-packaged. So if you're expecting the real good stuff, you'll be disappointed. Meanwhile, over in Hollywood Studios, plastic cheese is abundant at places like Dockside Diner, Rosie's All-American Cafe, and Woody's Lunchbox. But my all-time favorite place to get a cup of plastic cheese, not just in Hollywood Studios, but in all of Disney World, is from Backlot Express over in Echo Lake, because the cups of plastic cheese you can get for $1 over here are huge, perfect for dipping a chicken strip. Okay, now, before we get to our next one about American Idol, I got a gift for you. Go ahead and scan that QR code you see on the screen now, or head to disneyfoodblog.com/top-restaurants, and we're going to send you our free guide to our 2024 top 10 restaurants in every Disney World park, including Disney Springs. Not making assumptions or anything, but I think you're going to like it. Okay, moving on to American Idol. Back when Hollywood Studios was still MGM Studios, they rotated through a lot of different entertainment options that were directly inspired by the latest popular TV shows. But one of the most interesting attractions they hosted for a while was the American Idol experience. This experience invited park guests to audition just like you would during the actual American Idol singing competition. After you got through those initial auditions, you'd have the chance to sing in front of a live audience, where the audience would vote for their favorite singers. The winners would then get a dream ticket, which was basically a pass that worked like a lightning lane, or fast pass if we're sticking with the MGM times, for the real live American Idol show. The dream ticket holder was allowed to bypass the main line at the regional audition, so the stakes for winning this one were really high for a lot of guests. But just a couple years later, in 2014, the American Idol experience closed to make way for the first time in forever Frozen sing-along celebration. So technically, you still get to sing inside this building today. You're just not going to be judged on it. Olaf would never. Now, Let's talk about the Tiki Room. For a long stretch of time, Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room was annoying, which sounds blasphemous, and we never speak ill of the OG version that Walt had created alongside his team of Imagineers. But back in 1998, Magic Kingdom decided to shake things up by giving the Enchanted Tiki Room an unnecessary reimagining that, just not going to beat around the bush here, wasn't very good. During this re-theme, Iago from Aladdin and Zazu from The Lion King took over this classic long-running show, and the Enchanted Tiki Room under new management was born. Now, for the record, I'm not totally against reimaginings all the time. Like, the Tiki Room reimagining over in Tokyo Disneyland featuring Stitch is adorable. Then again, Bria forces me to say that at least twice a year. But these two under new management birds really stole the spotlight away from our birdie friends, Jose, Michael, Pierre, and Fritz. And let's be real here. There's a reason Zazu and Iago don't get a whole lot of screen time in their respective movies. They're just not main character material. Surprisingly, the show lasted for nearly 13 years until Mother Nature decided it was time to put a stop to it. A freak fire started in the attic of the Tiki Room building, causing some damage to various elements of the show, including Zazu and Iago. 7 months later, the show reopened and returned as once again the original version of Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. Oh, it's time to talk about poop candy again here on DFB Guide. Yes, friends, I am nostalgic for the days of poop candy, and I know that's weird on all sorts of levels, but a good snack is a good snack, even if it does resemble animal feces. Back in 2015, Animal Kingdom opened up Zuri's Sweets Shop, which was the park's answer to the Main Street Confectionery in Magic Kingdom. To this day, Zuri's is still your hub for all things sweet and animal inspired over in the Africa section of the park, with options like monkey caramel apples and cotton top tamarind cake pops. But when the shop first made its debut, there was a match the species selection for some of its chocolates. Match the species, translating to this candy looks like the legit poop of this animal. There were edible versions of elephant, giraffe, cotton top tamarind, and hippo scat to sample. And while we were hesitant to try it at first, just because it looked so gross, we were able to ask the cast members if we could see a reference page of what these treats were actually made out of, and they were happy to oblige. While we eventually gathered up enough courage to try this stuff and actually wound up enjoying it in the end, we were not part of the minority here when it came to first impressions. These chocolates just weren't all that popular among the masses. So poop candy got flushed not long after it first hit the display case shelves, but boy, are we glad we were there for that time. With 15 years under our belt of Disney World dining experience, I must say our 2024 iteration of the DFB Guide to Walt Disney World Dining is our best one yet, but I might be biased. My team just does an awesome job, and I'm really proud of what we've been able to accomplish here together. If you want to be part of what we've created and check out all our dining tips and tricks, reviews, and updates that we've picked up over the years and years and years of doing this, then head over to dfbstore.com to grab your digital copy today. Make sure to type in code YouTube before you check out for an extra discount. Okay, we've got novelty utensils at Hollywood Studios. This is why we can't have nice things. Hollywood Studios' newest area of the park, Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge, want you to feel as immersed as possible, and that level of immersion doesn't stop when you step foot into their restaurants. But the level of immersion was forced to cut back shortly after these new restaurants opened up. Exhibit A, the sporks at Docking Bay 7. When Docking Bay 7 opened back in 2019, along with the rest of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, you could eat your quick service meal with a spork. But not just any spork, a really cool looking spork that must have been native to the Batuan people. Fans and guests alike were a little too thrilled with these space utensils, and Disney started noticing their metal spork supply dwindling. So the sporks went away, then briefly returned as a separate purchase for around $11, complete with a Batu travel bag to carry them around in. Then they disappeared for good and have been gone ever since. Exhibit B, giant pencils at Roundup Rodeo Barbecue. The whole gimmick of Toy Story Land in general is that you've been shrunk down to the size of a toy, which is why all the props around you look huge to make you feel small. And that same gimmick is still illustrated through the Roundup Rodeo Barbecue table service that opened up in March 2023. So, since you're supposed to be one of the many toys inside this dining room, it only makes sense that everything else around you is huge, down to the pencil you have to sign your check with. Originally, when folks went to pay for their meal, they were handed a giant, oversized pencil. It made handling the bill a little more bearable. You just couldn't think too hard about the price tag. Alas, just a couple of months after Roundup Rodeo's opening, the cast members informed us they're no longer handing out the giant pencils to guests when they sign their checks. While we were never told exactly why Disney made this decision, it was no secret that Roundup Rodeo pencils were starting to dwindle in the same way the Docking Bay 7 sporks were. It's frustrating for sure, but it's definitely not the end of the world, and these restaurants are still alive and kicking with or without giant pencils and space sporks. Still, Still, these instances serve as some of the many, many reminders for why we should continue to respect Disney World property and the cast members who keep it running. So how many of y'all had the chance to play Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom back in the day? Because that game was the GOAT. Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom was an immersive, role-playing game introduced to the park in 2012 that featured interactions with Disney characters who would come to life in hidden areas around Magic Kingdom. Guests would take on animated Disney villains by casting spell cards featuring Rafiki, Rapunzel, Woozles, and more than 60 other Disney characters with their own unique special abilities to take down the baddies. Kind of reminds me of DuckTales World Showcase Adventure still going on over in Epcot. The game gave you the chance to explore parts of Magic Kingdom that maybe you would overlook otherwise, all while giving you something fun to do when the ride lines got too long. Even if you didn't end up playing the full Sorcerers game while you were there, it was still worth going to one of the trading card pickup points since you'd be given a pack of free trading cards, along with this cool looking map of the park that'd show you the gameplay areas, each and every time that you visited. And here's a fun fact about this one. To pull off this interactive adventure, more than 95 minutes of original animation was created for Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, equal to a full-length animated film. The game was designed to offer 3 levels, easy, medium, and hard, which could be accessed based on how often and how much a guest played. Each time a guest played at the hard level, a villain's weakness would change, making the game different and more challenging each time. And now here comes the sad part of this walk down memory lane. At the beginning of 2021, Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom came to an end. As Disney technology continued to upgrade, especially on the My Disney Experience app and Play Disney Parks app, the interest around the game started decreasing for guests. And while initially we were told the game was just going to be put on temporary pause, later we learned the Sorcerer's closure was going to be permanent. But Disney hasn't totally rid itself of free immersive games around the park just yet. A Pirate's Adventure Treasure of the Seven Seas is still around for now and lets guests explore Magic Kingdom's Adventureland via 5 different pirate raids using free pirate maps and a magic talisman. The goal of this quest is to help Captain Jack locate the treasures of the 7 seas and fight off Captain Barbossa, the Royal Navy, and other enemies. If guests help Captain Jack succeed in all the missions, they'll be welcomed as part of his crew. To play, you'll need to visit the game headquarters called the Crow's Nest, which is located in a small building on the outskirts of Adventureland, just past the arches connected to Pirates of the Caribbean and across from the Pecos Bill and Tortuga Tavern dining area. Long-term Disney goers, you knew this attraction was going to be somewhere on our list before you even clicked on the video. Admit it. Extraterrestrial was a Tomorrowland attraction that led guests into a theater, or rather high-tech laboratory, and then on into their worst nightmare. Inside the theater, guests took their seats and had to pull down these shoulder restraints, though this was a show rather than a ride, in order to get the full impact of the experience. And then the show began. Now, during the show, a scary-looking alien dude was transported into the middle of the theater. At first, things were fine. He's trapped in an experimental imprisonment tube, so what's the worst that could happen, right? Suddenly, the lights would flicker off and the alien would escape, which is a traumatizing enough thought on its own, but what made matters worse was when the alien would jump on your shoulder restraints, breathe into your ears, and drool down your neck. Ah, Disney, you always know how to make things so magical. This may come as a total shock to you, but there were several complaints filed against this ride since it was way too scary for a lot of kids. And that's kind of what Disney was going for with this attraction. Chairman and CEO at the time, Michael Eisner, was trying to appeal to his teen crowd, but even the teens were getting a little shook up by this one. The experience shut down in 2003 and was replaced eventually by Stitch's Great Escape in 2004. But it was basically the same experience, except now a fluffy blue alien was jumping on your shoulders and ruffling your hair and burping bean burrito in your face. Stitch's Great Escape closed in 2018, and for a while the area was instead used as a meet and greet section for Stitch without all the burping. But now the building is vacant. So if you're like Bria and you're the world's biggest Stitch fan, where can you find Stitch inside the Disney bubble now? Even though Stitch's Great Escape is no longer in Tomorrowland, Stitch doesn't hold any hard feelings against the area, so more than likely you'll be able to see him wandering about Tomorrowland at some point during your visit. Typically, we see him lingering around the People Mover area because obviously Stitch has good taste in rides. Check your My Disney Experience app to see when he might potentially pop up around this area during the day. Stitch also makes appearances during the Best Friends Breakfast at Ohana in Polynesian Village Resort, alongside his best buddy, Lilo. You can start making reservations for this experience 60 days before the start of your trip, and I would recommend it because it's pretty popular. Then there are Stitch's special appearances during Disney's holiday parties. During Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party at Magic Kingdom, you can meet a rare version of Stitch where he's all dressed up in his Elvis attire too. And since we're already talking about past experiences that Disney tried to tailor for older audiences, let's go back in time and re-enter the former Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island used to exist in downtown Disney before it was transformed into Disney Springs. Brief history lesson for you. When Michael Eisner and Frank Wells took control of Disney back in 1984, they had two major goals for the company's theme parks. Goal 1, they wanted to change their image to appeal to a hipper and younger audience. And goal 2, they wanted to keep guests on property longer without wandering off to other nearby non-Disney tourist attractions. When Church Street Station, i.e. a nightclub complex in Orlando, opened in 1974, Eisner and Wells attempted to compete with Church Street by opening a nightclub district of their own inside downtown Disney, Pleasure Island. But this is Disney we're talking about here, so of course Pleasure Island has its own backstory. According to the legend devised by Disney Imagineers, Meriwether Pleasure, aka one of the members of Disney's fictional Society of Explorers and Adventurers, originally started developing this island to house various building materials for his fellow SEA friends to use. Then, during one of his own adventures, Meriwether got lost at sea, leaving the upkeep of the island in the hands of his kids. And things were going okay until a major hurricane hit. In the wake of the damage, Pleasure Island was created, and you could learn even more about this Imagineering lore through all the story plaques located around the district. Pleasure Island was way more adult than anywhere else on Disney property, and while there were lots of heavily themed clubs offered throughout with dancing, music, and alcoholic beverages galore, I still miss the leisure suit. The highlight of this area was the Adventurers Club. When you think of Adventurers Club, think Trader Sam's Grog Grotto and Polynesian Village Resort, but even bigger and way more immersive. Adventurers Club was just a good time with a heavily detailed environment, lots of props to look at everywhere that usually moved and talked to you, several animatronics, and a group of improv performers portraying specific characters who garnered a large fan following of their own. While Pleasure Island was initially a massive success and for all intents and purposes achieved its goals of mitigating the Church Street Station complex and keeping younger adult Disney guests on property, it began to lose its luster by the mid-2000s. Eventually, Disney announced the closure of Pleasure Island in July of 2008, and the complex closed after an emotional final night that September. The area where Pleasure Island once resided is now part of the larger Disney Springs complex called The Landing, which includes some of our favorite places to eat like Raglan Road, which survived the transition, Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar, and the Boathouse. If you're missing the club-like vibe that Disney Springs and downtown Disney once had, you can find similar vibes going on over at the Boardwalk Inn Resort. The Atlantic Dance Hall is typically open Thursday through Sunday nights from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. and is a place where you can just dance the night away with your friends, and there's usually nobody else there except you and your friends. There's also Jelly Rolls next door, which is a dueling piano bar that's again for guests 21 and older with a cover charge of $22 per person to enter. Ah, Kite Tales, you were too good for this world, too young and too pure. Disney's Kite Tales debuted in Animal Kingdom during Disney World's 50th anniversary celebration, and it lived a strange, humorous, and beautiful short life that we can't help but already be nostalgic for. When we first saw the concept art for this Discover River Amphitheater show, it seemed like it was going to be really nice and maybe a little sophisticated. But then the show started up and it was like someone's profile picture you see in a dating app versus someone you go on a date with in real life. Similar maybe, but definitely not the same thing as you were originally advertised. But honestly, that's what made this show even better. There were two different versions of these 10-minute shows. One was based around characters and music from The Lion King, and the other was inspired by The Jungle Book. And although the kites were big and colorful and honestly kind of goofy, people's favorite part about the whole thing ended up being the crash landings on the bleachers across the water. While the 50th anniversary was still going on though, Disney started to pull back on its Kite Tales performances, making them shorter and more of a drive-by, check-us-out situation, similar to the former flotillas. Hey, this is the way you learned about Animal Kingdom's character Flotilla's retiring too. I'm sorry, we're still hurting as well. Anyway, while the 50th anniversary still had a lot more celebrating to go, Disney went ahead and announced that they'd be retiring the show after September 30th, 2022. But because of Hurricane Ian, it actually ended up shutting down before September 30th. So what's going on in the Discovery River Amphitheater now? Well, Nothing. I don't think it'll stay nothing forever, since that's literally so much space that Animal Kingdom has to work with, so we'll let you know if the status of that ever changes. However, if you're looking for a nice place to chill out for a bit where you can escape the crowds and just gaze out across the water while enjoying a snack or drink, the bleachers there are still available for you to chill out at whenever you need the respite. To this day, the closure of the writer's stop in MGM/Hollywood Studios still feels like a personal attack. It is the Disney place I miss the most. Writer's Stop opened back in 1999 at MGM Studios. Not only did it used to be a cute little coffee shop, but it also used to be a tiny bookstore. This location opened as an homage to Ellen DeGeneres' By the Book from her first sitcom Ellen, so it was designed to look like a soundstage. This area was also used for author and celebrity signings. And call me nostalgic and unwilling to relinquish the past, but the Writer's Stop had the best iteration of the carrot cake cookie in history, and nobody can tell me otherwise. The most recent version of the carrot cake cookie can still be purchased at Trolley Car Cafe in Hollywood Boulevard, and while I still enjoy it, I'm plagued with the ghosts of carrot cakes past, knowing good and well just how superior this treat used to be. Now, Writer's Stop closed on April 2nd, 2016, when Hollywood Studios shut down the Streets of America area to pave the way for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Then they replaced Writer's Stop with Baseline Tap House in 2017, which is now famous for its craft beers and small bites. The backstory of the new Baseline Tap House is that it's housed in an old printing factory. That's an homage to the location's previous incarnation, so at least it kept that printing theme throughout. Now, I try not to hold a grudge toward Baseline Tap House for replacing Writer's Stop. I really do, but I do kind of hold a grudge, and I'm still working through those big feelings. I must say, I do appreciate how Baseline Tap House pays tribute to the predecessor through its little Easter eggs. Next time you're in Baseline, take a look at the decor on the wall. At first, it might look like a bunch of clutter, but upon closer inspection, you'll notice the block letters hidden on the shelves spell out Writer's Stop, because that's the original sign from the original location. Christmas just hasn't been the same without this MGM spectacle. The Osborne Family Spectacle of Lights made their Christmas season debut at the then MGM Studios back in 1995. 5 million lights twinkled, blinked, and mesmerized guests as they stretched all the way down the streets of America. The lights were also known to throw a little festive party every now and then. They like to dance along to popular Christmas tunes like Carol of the Bells and Feliz Navidad. But in 2015, Disney announced that the Osborne lights would be illuminating the park streets for one final season before being retired to make way for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So on January 3rd, 2016, the dancing lights gave their final performance in the park, ending their time in Disney World dancing to the Mickey Mouse Club alma mater song. So whatever happened to the Osborne Family Spectacle of Dancing Lights? Did they just go away forever? Actually, the Spectacle of Lights display is currently being used to help illuminate the Give Kids the World Village charity complex for their Night of a Million Lights event. According to the Give Kids the World Village website, Give Kids the World Village is an 89-acre nonprofit storybook resort in Central Florida where children with critical illnesses and their families are treated to week-long, cost-free vacations. When you visit this Million Light Christmas stroll, you'll not only be able to revisit the Osborne Lights, but your proceeds will also go to helping this nonprofit organization continue to thrive. Now, if you're looking for festiveness in the Disney parks, never fear. Disney World continues to get into the holly jolly spirit. Epcot has its Festival of the Holidays, which typically runs from late November until late December. There, you'll be able to taste different seasonal foods, go on a scavenger hunt with Olaf, listen to the holiday storytellers in each country, and experience the celebrity-narrated candlelight processional. You can also continue searching for holiday cheer at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. For a separately ticketed price, you'll be able to experience holiday-themed performances, fireworks spectaculars, parades, and Main Street USA Snope. Now, if you're looking for something more on the complimentary side of things, you can always check out the Christmas Tree Stroll over in Disney Springs, where you can find a bunch of different Christmas trees decorated to reflect some of our favorite characters and movies and park attractions. But as far as Hollywood Studios is concerned, last year the After Hours party, Jollywood Nights, made its big debut and had lots of themed entertainment and decor loosely based around the days of old Hollywood. And while Jollywood was riddled with mixed reviews, it looks like Disney's going to give the party an encore this year. In 2024, this event will take place on select nights between November 9th to December 21st and will include special entertainment, festive snacks and drinks, lots of new character meet and greets, and lots more Christmas decorations. And hopefully some major improvements from last year too, so that things run a little bit more smoothly for all those party-going guests and cast members alike. Now, I don't care who you are, sometimes a McDonald's fry is the only type of fry that really hits the spot, especially if they're served hot. And at one point in time, Disney was another location where you could get your McDonald's fry fix and then some. Several McDonald's foods were actually hidden throughout the parks back in the day. Refreshment Port over at Epcot used to serve McDonald's chicken nugs and McFlurries. Fairfax Fries, which we now know as Sunshine Day Cafe in Hollywood Studios, sold Mickey D's fries. Magic Kingdom had Frontierland Fries, which also served up McDonald's fries, and the Village Fry Shop, which is now Friar's Nook in Fantasyland, served these glorious crispy, salty, golden fried potatoes too. For a while there, McDonald's just flat out sponsored Dinoland USA. Restaurantosaurus no longer sells McD's chicken nugs or fries anymore, but they used to have the whole gamut, burgers, everything at Restaurantosaurus. And the former Petra Fries location used to sell McDonald's fries too. But when they stopped selling them, this whole snack window transformed into Trilobites, where you can now get another favorite snack of mine, the buffalo chicken chips, though I do worry about their existence once the Tropical Americas retheme takes place and wipes out Dinoland USA altogether. Side note, it's kind of weird that someday we'll make an updated DFB video of extinct sections around Disney World and Dinoland's gonna have to be a part of that. I don't know if I'm emotionally prepared. More big feelings. Sorry, got sidetracked. Back to Mickey D's. Downtown Disney, which is now Disney Springs, used to have a McDonald's location too, which remained there from 1997 until 2010. The Latin American counter service restaurant, Pollo Campero, briefly replaced the McDonald's location in downtown Disney, but closed during the major Disney Springs renovations in 2014. So where did all the McDonald's go? Well, the McDonald's-Disney partnership ended after their 10-year contract expired. Instead, McDonald's decided to sign on with DreamWorks, and the presence of Mickey D's in Disney World fizzled out in 2008. If you're still desperate to get McDonald's fries while you're in the Disney bubble, McDonald's still has one remaining restaurant on property that's fairly close to Animal Kingdom and the All-Star Resorts, over at the intersection of Osceola Parkway and West Buena Vista Drive. Here, you can pick up the cheapest meal you're going to find on vacation. You can even use your McDonald's rewards from the McDonald's app to receive even more savings if you got coupon codes to spare. And if you step outside the Disney bubble for an afternoon, you can even eat at the biggest McDonald's in the world, just 15 minutes away from the parks. This two-story McDonald's is located at 6875 West Sand Lake Road and not only serves up your traditional Mickey D's grub, but also wood-fire pizzas, pastas, Philly cheesesteaks, and giant cake slices too. Now, if you remember these, then you've truly been a Disney World fan for a while, just like us. Way back when, we're talking like circa 2009 when DFB started, Pop Century Resort used to have Mom's Night Out meals over at the Everything Pop food court, where you could get a full home-cooked meal served to you in a TV dinner-style tray. These meals were only served on certain evenings and came in different offerings depending on when you visited. Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays typically had fried chicken, Tuesdays and Wednesdays were turkey dinner, and Thursdays and Fridays blessed us with the mojo pork. While we do miss the cozy evenings of Mom's Night Out, you'll be happy to know the tie-dye cheesecake from Everything Pop, which has been around since the beginning as well, is still going strong. And if you're really in dire need of a home-cooked style meal when you're outside the parks, check out restaurants like Homecoming in Disney Springs, Olivia's Cafe in Old Key West, and Grand Floridian Cafe at the Grand Floridian Resort to help you get your fix. And now we're back to present day, ready to see what's in store for the future of Disney World. Speaking of present, don't forget about our free Top Disney World Restaurants gift waiting for you to pick up over at disneyfoodblog.com/top-restaurants. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.